Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real Estate World Podcast. All right, we are live. Hi, this is Scott with the Real Estate World Podcast. Reporting here live on Facebook again today. I am in the bunker in flyover country here in lovely Minnetonka, Minnesota. And today I'm bringing the fire. There are some things that are bothering me, and I am on the, well, as my grandma Bridget would say, the Davenport of doom today. I have had some things that are just bothering me, and you guys are going to be my muse today. And I'm gonna let her fly. Hold on a second here. I figured out, on a positive note, and those of you that are raving fans of the show, you understand that I do a daily positive and a daily gratitude exercise. And today is no exception. I did my gratitude exercise. I believe the 5 things might have been in no particular order. Well, number 1, of course, my wife. I'm grateful for her. She has had to be a homeschooler, something I didn't think would ever happen. My wife is doing a fantastic job with the kids. In fact, I got a text of her teaching them math. And if you know my wife, she is not a fan of mathematics, of arithmetic. So that was great. So she's doing a great job there. Obviously I'm grateful for my children, grateful for my health. Yes. I know some of you want to say, well, Scott, you have a brain tumor. Well, yeah. So what? I ran 4 miles today. That means I'm healthy. All right. I ran 4 miles without stopping today, which means I'm healthy. I eat well. I eat good, healthy foods, immune boosting foods, my alphabet vitamins, A, B, C, D, E. I have a very, I wouldn't say it's a little less regimented nutrition program, but I'm definitely very aware of the importance of your gut, and as it applies to your health and your immune system. So if you don't believe me, too bad. I'm telling the truth. I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling you, get the Google machine out and do some of your own research. I can't do it all for you. So I was thankful for my health, my wife, my kids, my boat. I know not everyone has a boat, but I'm telling you, get a boat. If you don't have a boat, get a boat. I went for 30 years of my life and not thinking I could afford a boat or was worthy of a boat. And I didn't realize that, any boat, I don't care if it's a kayak that you can fold up and carry around like a briefcase, a canoe, it doesn't matter. You can find a boat. It doesn't need to even have a motor. It can have an oar. I'm pretty sure. In fact, I bet if I went out on Craigslist or eBay, and maybe I'll do that as I'm canoes for sale, canoe. Okay, like I gotta believe, and these are all new ones, but maybe I'll used canoes. You can get really nice brand new canoes for, about $500. But I bet you could get a canoe, used canoes for sale in Minnesota. Yeah, a couple $100. I mean, anybody can afford that, right? Or just about anybody. Hell, I bet you I could get my guitar out and sit on the street, and I've done this before, in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, at the 10,000 Lakes Festival. There was a group of us. I really don't know how to play the guitar very well, but there were 1 or 2 people in our group who could play the guitar. In fact, no, at this time it was just one person who actually knew how to play, someone with a bongo. And we sat on the sidewalk and we made like $40 in an hour. So I believe that someone could, well, maybe not now with the social distancing, maybe, okay, bad idea. But when we get through this COVID epidemic, this pandemic, go out on the street, get a bongo, hell, get a plastic 5-gallon pail and bang on that. I guarantee you in within a few days, you'll make enough money to have $200 buy a canoe. Anyway, thankful for the boat because we are approaching summer. It snowed again today, and I know it doesn't really feel like summer, but at a certain point, we're going to be able to get on the water. The ice is out here in Minnesota, and at some point, it's going to be comfortable enough to get on the water. And there's nothing that's so relaxing as being on the water. You don't even need a boat. Get a flotation device, or if you can swim, just get in the water. I don't know what's going to happen in the city with all the lakes. What level of restrictions are going to be, and that would really suck, to be honest, if people can't get in the lakes here in the summer. It kind of is what makes living in Minnesota worthwhile. So anyway, what was number 5? Might have been my house. In fact, I have a house that I can live in a house, and whether that's a house or an apartment or whatever, just be grateful. I mean, you're not living under a bridge, for Christ's sakes. I mean, that would be way worse. So I do gratitude. I do positive focus every day, and it has to be positive accomplishments from the day prior. And I'm not exactly sure what I wrote down for that. I'd have to look, because sometimes the days blend together. And the reason I do this is that it gives me it sets the frame, because particularly right now with there's a lot of fear and negativity out there. So you really want to get your mind thinking about, hey, what did I accomplish? What have I accomplished? What were the things? And it gets you thinking about what are small things I can do to build momentum, to put myself in a better place mentally. Because being in a positive place, being in a good place mentally, again, just like nutrition and your gut, it helps boost your immune system. It helps you. If you're thinking healthy thoughts, if you're thinking positive thoughts, that has a direct impact on your health and your immune system. And getting some exercise, going out and getting those endorphins going. And like this morning, I didn't want to run. I had no interest. I'm like, I'll go out, run the loop around the neighborhood. You get 1.5 miles. It's better than nothing. You can walk. You have license to walk if you want, listen to a podcast, listen to some music. And, once I got going, I felt good, and I got 4 miles. I would have went longer, but I started late and I needed to get home, and I've got stuff I need to get done today. I've got a meeting at noon today. That's going to run most of the day. So I had to kick her in here. So a couple of things I want to talk about though today before I forget is what's going on with some of the stimulus packages out there, stimulus programs, the grants, the stimulus checks. Has anybody gotten a stimulus check yet? I don't believe anyone has. What's going around right now is the Wells Fargo GIF or JPEG or whatever file that people are. I think I've got about 15 versions of it so far. Where you said, hey, I got my stimulus check, and then on the line items, there's usually stuff like Pornhub or the Tiger King, or I don't know, all kinds of other just inappropriate stuff. But it's okay to laugh. Laughter also helps. Laughter also helps you feel better. So people, it's okay to laugh, even if you are. Like, I know that there's tragedy right now. I know there's people who are very sick, and there are people who unfortunately are passing away. And you can't diminish the impact of that on the survivors' lives too, and the pain and suffering. But for those of you out there who don't have somebody in the hospital, it's okay. It's okay to be happy about something in your life. It's okay to be happy that you're healthy. It's okay to be happy that you have kids that are healthy. It's okay to be happy that you're still unemployed, or thankful that you're eligible for an unemployment check, right? And that you can afford to pay your mortgage and you can afford to pay your rent. Be happy about that. Be grateful. Have some gratitude. I mean, again, I'm not. There's some bad things happening, but there's also good things. So I think it's imperative that we recognize the good. And we can't just be martyrs. We can't just be flogging ourselves all day long like that weird guy from Oh, the Da Vinci Code, that weirdo that like had that thing on his leg that he would make himself bleed and he'd like whip himself. Oh, what was that guy's name? He was a weirdo. Oh, anyway, good book, not as good a movie. Anyway, so what's going on with these stimulus checks? I don't believe anybody's actually received one. So when someone sends you that text that they got it, it's a joke probably. Sounds like next week you'll be seeing that. And if I'm wrong, today is April 9th. 2020, the year of our Lord, 2020. We are on Holy Thursday for the Christians out there, of which I am. And tomorrow's Friday, and Saturday or Sunday's Easter. And I, shout out to the Easter Bunny. Hopefully, he or she. I don't know that the Easter Bunny's gender has ever really been determined, and I hope it isn't ever determined because it's odd. But the Easter Bunny will be coming to our home, and I'm fearful that our children have the gig is up with our kids. In fact, I believe it was 3 years ago. Nico was 3 or 4 at the time. That was 3 years ago. We were still living in Minneapolis, and he knew as a 3-year-old that my brother-in-law was the Easter Bunny. He could tell by the voice because he was dressed up in this bunny suit and stuff. So I don't know that we are going to let him get close to the Easter Bunny because there might be an unveiling. And if the Easter Bunny falls, does the legend, the myth of Santa Claus also fall? Do we no longer get to have a tooth fairy because our kids, they're 6 and a half, they haven't lost a tooth yet? Do all these dominoes fall? Like that if we had a daily trivia question, that would be it. If one domino falls, how do you keep the others from falling? I mean, I suppose you could social distance the dominoes, keep them 6 feet apart, and as long as the dominoes were less than 6 feet tall, we'd be fine. I know it's a good question. Ponder that today, because the kids still believed in the leprechaun. They still had a kind of a Cupid thing on Valentine's Day, where they did the elf on a shelf thing for Christmas, and there's some magic there. Truly is magical when you have children believing in the mystique of the Santa Claus, the mystique of the Easter Bunny and stuff. And I know that these are probably all none of this has anything to do with the actual holiday. It's all this we've bastardized the actual holiday and the religious significance of it, but it sure does make it fun with the kids. So anyway, so that was a rabbit hole, pun intended. So we're talking about this EIDL loan here. This is important. When it seems too good to be true, it usually is. And this EIDL, let's call it the myth of the EIDL loan here. When it came out, when the CARES Act was signed into law, one of the benefits or programs in there was the EIDL loan, which was an emergency loan of $10,000 for small business owners. So when it came out, it was basically said that it's an economic injury disaster loan, and what that was it was a stopgap for people to apply, small business owners to apply for an emergency loan of $10,000, which, if you read the law, it was supposed to, and the SBA website, you were supposed to be able to apply for this emergency loan and get it within 3 days. And you're supposed to get up to $10,000, or not up to, you're supposed to get $10,000 within 3 days. Well, as this has evolved, the loan program, the details have changed, right? So now, so I'm going to back up. So you're supposed to be able to go out to the site, apply for the emergency loan, the emergency advance of $10,000, and which was forgivable even if you didn't qualify for the actual loan on the other end. Okay. And the loan was a small business SBA loan. And no matter what happened, this money did not need to be repaid. So it was basically a grant, free $10,000. And when I originally saw that, I'm like, there's no way. There is no way this is real. Like this, I mean, you don't write, like, you could just like paste fraud all over this program, because the bar was so low. And, you know, it kind of sucked because there's a lot of business owners out there who need the money. Right. And, you know, if you're in travel and restaurants particular, but that's, you know, there's all kinds of other people affected by this too. So anyway, so new guidance. So basically, as far as I know, nobody's got that money yet. So new guidance came out that the SBA has decided, I'm getting this off inc.com, and I put this on my Facebook page too, but SBA has decided to implement a $1,000 cap per employee on the advance up to a maximum of $10,000. So a business with 3 employees, for example, would be eligible to receive only $3,000 upfront, as opposed to the originally stated $10,000. The bulletin states that the advances will be distributed beginning this week. In a separate announcement, U.S. Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii, who serves on the Senate's Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, said the change is a result of the high demand for the loans. Well, no crap. I mean, you know, anybody on planet Earth who had a tax ID that was a business started before February 15th could get this money, and there were like no rules, no guidelines, nothing. So the thing is, they had initially allocated, I believe it was, and don't, you know, correct, someone can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it was like $20 billion for this. And I was reading a report that there's like 30 to 40 million small businesses and sole proprietors in the United States. So basically, the first million people would get the money, and the first 1 to 2 million people would get the money, and no one else would be eligible, because that's how fast the funds would be gone. So apparently, this is their stopgap to try to stretch this money. Now, yeah, let's see here. Overwhelming interest in the program has slowed the process. This makes it difficult to estimate when applicants will receive their advance. Okay, so just don't hold your breath for this money. The other part of the CARES Act that was getting a good deal, a ton of interest, is the Paycheck Protection Act or program, payroll protection program. And I want to pull this up because I actually have been looking at this. Now, what that is if you are a business owner, I'm going to summarize here just in interest of time, but basically, if you are a small business owner with employees, you take the last 12 months payroll, divide it by 12, so you get the average monthly payroll for the last 12 months, and then you multiply it by 2.5, and that's the amount you would be eligible for. Well, let me rephrase that. You could take out a loan, but you could be eligible up to 2.5 times your average monthly payroll amount in loan forgiveness, as long as you didn't shrink your payrolls between, let's say, April 1st and June 30th. And the actual dates, I don't know exactly what they are, but they're about that. I think it goes through June 30th is the end point, and then it's either going to be somewhere in April, early April, or late May, or late March as the beginning date. So basically, say for instance, your average monthly payroll was $40,000, and you had, you multiply that by 2.5. It comes out to $100,000. You say, I want a $100,000 payroll protection loan, and I will not lay off anyone through June 30th, that amount could be used for qualified expenses, including payroll and rent, utilities. And there was one more thing, and I don't recall what it was, and that's irrelevant. You can go to sba.gov and get the details of this. So there has been an overwhelming demand for this. I believe the first round is $350 billion, which they expect that'll be gone by like yesterday. And maybe 376 billion. It might have been the amount here. So there's yeah, the Paycheck Protection Program. All right, that's the name of it. So, and I've got it up right now. You can apply through any, okay, so here's the catch. You can apply through any existing SBA 7A lender or through any federally insured depository institution, federally insured credit union, and farm credit system institution that is participating. So this opened up last Friday, the 3rd of April. And Wells Fargo, who was one of the lenders on here, was actually capped at $10 billion because Wells Fargo, which is like the top 3 small business administration lenders in the country, I believe, they were capped because of all the shenanigans they had with their account gate fiasco. So they basically hit their 10 billion mark day one in this program. And it caused, they said, well, we don't have any more money that we're allowed to lend. And the federal government stepped in and said, okay, we'll increase your limit. Bank of America, they came out and they said, look, unless you have a small business banking relationship with us, we're not going to give you the money. And the fear is with these banks, and there was some backlash with the federal government, and apparently Bank of America loosened up their lending criteria so that if you didn't have a relationship, but I'll tell you, I do have a relationship with Bank of America and as a small business, and I went out there just to see if I could apply, and they said I couldn't. So there's someone's not being honest here. I have a business relationship with Wells Fargo. I didn't try to apply for this with them. I might do it today just to see what they say. I won't actually go through with the full application, but just see if it'll let me start one. So there is the problem with the Paycheck Protection Program. Number one, I think it's going to save some businesses. I know for a fact. I know a lot of small businesses that this program will save. I also know a lot of small businesses where this is too little, too late. And the best route to go is if you have a relationship with a local lender. This is my opinion. That's where I would go. The local lenders, and even many of the local lenders right now, they're not talking to anybody who doesn't have an existing relationship. There's a lot of fear from these lenders that the fear of fraud. If they don't know you and they can't verify who you are, there is a good deal of fear that there's going to be fraud and there's going to be a backlash on the lenders. In fact, there was, so there's another issue. Again, this is also on my Facebook page. Was in Finance and Commerce today. I think originally they're republishing from Bloomberg. Banks say onerous rules delay small business loans. U.S. banks facing criticism for prioritizing existing customers over new ones who are seeking coronavirus rescue loans put the blame on federal rules meant to catch terrorists and money launderers. So basically, there's a quote here. Small businesses and policymakers should understand that a primary reason most banks will be extending these loans only to existing customers is because the anti-money laundering process is so onerous and time-consuming, said Greg Baer, president of the Bank Policy Institute. Blah, 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 blah. Banks, large and small, have urgently sought relief from these requirements from day one to no avail. To underscore its point, the industry estimates that even the initial steps of processing a new borrower's application can add as much as 2 hours of work, and then verifying that the customer's information is legitimate can take a month or longer. Bankers say it's hardly a recipe for rapidly getting rescue funds out the door. True. That's very true. We will be running out of money very quickly. Looking to Congress to add another $250 billion by the end of the week. I can only imagine what they're going to try to earmark on that, right? Sorry, me being cynical, but a lot of pork going to come on that bill. You know, good, well-intentioned bills, and there's, you know, it's just, anyway, I don't need to go down that road right now. Okay, so on Tuesday, call between Trump and bank leaders. Bank of America Chief Executive Officer Brian Monahan said his firm is prioritizing our work to make sure we serve the clients who have a relationship with us. That is keeping us plenty busy, but we're here to continue to support this effort. He said, Bank of America spokesman said the lender has received 250,000 applications seeking $40 billion as of Tuesday evening, Tuesday, April 7th. That is a lot of money. So let's see. FinCEN regulations oppose tough know your customer requirements that force banks to be able to verify clients' identities. For people, that often entails providing information like a driver's license and social security number. Banks, for businesses, banks must check the identity of each person who owns more than 25% of the company, as well as any person that is in control of its operations. All right, well, that does make it a little more complicated, I guess. You know, so here's the deal. Like, there is a potential for fraud, and some of these anti-terrorist type of regulations have definitely made there be more oversight with the lenders, and it's going to cause some frustration because there are people who desperately need help, you know, in situations where they've been compelled to close by the, you know, we assume well-meaning local magistrates and government. So we'll keep you posted on this. I don't know how this is going to end. But I will definitely tell you what I'm seeing and what I know. I know a lot of people who have applied for this. I know a lot of people who've been impacted, a lot of businesses that aren't going to survive this unless they get some kind of relief or are allowed to conduct business again, which we don't know when that's going to happen. So looking at some things real estate related, Redfin is furloughing 41% of its real estate agents. Wow. So Redfin made news by putting their agents on salary, and then with small bonuses for signing up clients or working with clients. And that model with real estate transactions projected to be down by as much as 50 to 60% in the month of April. As you know, it's not, here's the deal. Real estate and housing is considered essential services in many markets. It is here in Minnesota. The problem is that there's a lot of paranoia, and, you know, justifiably so, of people going into other people's houses right now, regardless of whether they're wearing masks or gloves or whatever. It freaks people out, and they're making the decision to just wait until we get past this. The question has been, and I think it's fair to ask, is when are we going to get past it? All right. If we don't build herd immunity, you're going to hear that a lot, I think, in the upcoming days and weeks. If we don't build herd immunity, when do we get past this? So we don't know how many people have had the virus. Does this ever end? And you know, do we get through to a certain point, and does the virus mutate and we have round two, so that we are, you know, perpetually in this state of crisis? And I don't have the answer. Like, I you know, what is everyone's level of comfort? I tell you, if I'm 70 plus years old and I've got an underlying condition, I'm not going out right now. If I'm me and I'm 46, I'm less worried about it. I don't have underlying conditions unless stupidity is an underlying condition. Then yes, I do have an underlying condition. I do have brain cancer, but I'm not undergoing chemo. So that's the thing that actually is, weakens your immune system. Your immune system gets compromised, and then that, weakens you and allows the pathogens to get into the cells and start replicating, and then that's where the nastiness begins. So as long as I don't start a round of chemotherapy or radiation or do something that's going to compromise my immune system, I don't have a lot to worry about because I don't have any other underlying conditions. So where is this, where's the line drawn? And you're going to hear a lot of debate on this in the upcoming weeks. And there's not going to be a right or wrong answer. It's someone's going to make a decision and they're going to live with it. And there are going to be people who are unfortunately going to get sick and die from this, regardless of when that decision's made or how it's made. I think a lot of the issue is people just don't understand like how they're coming up with these models. The model that came out that said, well, we're going to lose 2 million people, 1 to 2 million. Then it was revised down to 240,000 or a range, then down to 80,000. Now I think the latest I heard was like 40,000, which like, I don't want anybody to die, but the news is getting better. But for a lot of people, we have this scourge, this invisible enemy that we're fighting that, we don't really understand. Most people don't understand how viruses work. Most people don't understand, where these viruses come from, how they mutate, how every year we have flu, right? And most people, again, most people are captivated by the headlines and the negativity and don't do their own research. And I encourage everyone to do some research, ask questions, be curious. Not saying you should like rip off your face mask and, get naked and run through the streets, sounds like fun, but but do some research, figure out how do you boost your immune system. This is something that's near and dear to my heart because, when I got diagnosed with brain cancer back in August, it knocked me in my ass a bit, and it freaked me out. It freaked my family out. And there was a lot of mental collateral damage. And I said and did some dumb shit, pardon the French, but one of the biggest mistakes I made was not understanding that this was, happening to other people in my, in my life. Like they were also coping with the fact that I had a brain tumor and that this could be the end for me. I do believe some people were secretly celebrating, and I commend them for that, for having the courage to celebrate my untimely demise. As I've said in the past, the Real Estate World podcast is a show that, if nothing else, we have courage, and we have courage to say things that other people won't. And if celebrating my untimely demise brings pleasure and joy to people, well, then damn it, I did something. I brought joy to the world. So anyway, I'm joking, kind of. But the reality is that I've been on this mission to learn about how do you heal from chronic illness? How do you heal naturally? And before you portray me as some kind of a lunatic, I will remind you I was a lunatic well before cancer. So you can't necessarily say it's the cancer's fault. You can blame the cancer for a lot of things, and trust me, I do, but you cannot say I'm a lunatic because of it. There's no cause and effect there. But the fact of the matter is that I do believe that a great many things in our lives would go away health-wise, a lot of our issues, if we ate better, like cut down the carbs and the sugars. Okay, like we have an epidemic of type 2 diabetes, and a lot of it is because of our diet. And I'm not going to lecture right now, but I would ask that people just be honest with themselves as we go through this pandemic here. Like, what are things you can do to be healthier, be stronger? Vitamin C, you hear about a lot. Like, yeah, take some vitamin C. It's not gonna hurt you. I mean, I think it's really hard to OD on vitamin C. I think it's water soluble. I think you pee it out if you get too much. But there's vitamin C, D, E. Like And I go on and on and on. But what the point I'm trying to make is, like, we need to just, I don't even know what point I'm trying to make anymore. No, the point I'm trying to make is, let's look at ways that we can boost our immune system, because I believe that is our best defense against this. Our natural ability to fight this off, to heal, and to be able to knock this thing on its ass before it ruins us. All right. So anyway, that's I'm not going to keep going there. So anyway, Redfin is laid off some people. EXP laid off 15% of its staff. I think we're going to see more of that. There's more bad news. Mortgage credit availability decreased 16% in March. Oh man, I just don't want to be all negative here, but whatever. So basically, there have been some changes that in the lending community, lending standards have tightened. A lot of the zero down programs are gone, and that was done very quietly. So there has been a drop in liquidity. The jumbo non-conforming mortgages, FHA, VA, USDA loans, those all saw some tightening of the credit scores and lending standards. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, I just, summer's on the way, folks. Hopefully summer's not canceled this year. Get outside, social distance, get some fresh air, go for a walk. It's really good for you. It's really good. Get outside, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors. I know a lot of people are trying to do the Zoom happy hours. I'm doing this on Zoom right now on Facebook Live, and I'm worried. Zoom had some security problems. So does anybody know about that? Is this being broadcast to the Martians right now? And do they have do they see Yoda in the background? I do have a Yoda in my office. It was my kids, and they outgrew it. So Dad took Yoda and Darth Vader to the office. So I do have Yoda to guide me here. So anyway, I've got to go today. I've got this is about the 1-year anniversary of my experience at Warrior Week. It's Wake Up Warrior, and Garrett J. White and Sam Falofsky. God, Sam, I can't see your name. Sorry, Sam. Coach Sam. Probably gonna make me do like 3,000 burpees or something, but it was an event that really changed my life, really opened me up spiritually, got me more in touch with understanding my wife, my kids, myself a little bit more, being on a path of more awareness on a spiritual sense, got me meditating and stuff. So anyway, we've got a coaching event today that I am going through to work on goals and, just trying to keep my own head, myself centered. So that's coming up here shortly. So I'm going to bounce. Appreciate you joining today. If I could be of any assistance with anyone with your understanding of, if you're trying to get unemployment, you're a business owner, you're trying to understand some of these, the CARES Act. I spend a couple hours a day getting updates on this. So I've made it in my interest and to be able to help people by educating myself on this. So with that, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Scott Picard. This is the Real Estate World Podcast. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.